Well, welcome back, friends. Today is day one. It's a little dark out here. Day one of the first day. I guess it'll be our first forestry video of the new homestead. As most of you guys probably know, we bought a commercial lot that's covered in beautiful ponderosa pine that, Lord willing, will eventually be the future home of the Wranglerstar homestead, an opportunity for us to hang out together. Yeah, go ahead, baby.
I just got a text from Don saying that they are around. Should I invite them over today?
Yeah, that would be great. It'd be great to see them.
Will do. See you around now.
Yeah, let me know. All right, so I've got, we're gonna get started in earnest today. We've got all our tools out here. First thing we need to do is start punching the road in so we can get the quad in and the equipment. And then we'll start. That's what you get with the commercial site, right? We're going to be thinning. We're going to be the material that we're taking down, the small trees, the thinning, we'll be using to build traditional log rail fences, as well as firewood and maybe whatever else we can figure out. So let's get the tools out and start working. This is where we're going to start, the north side. This is where the entrance is going to be. Now, the obvious things that will need to come down will be the small trees, because we've got a lot of big, nice, mature trees in here. Once we get the small trees down and the floor cover, the ground cover all kind of knocked down a little bit, then we'll cruise it and then we'll kind of lay out for the future campsites. We have so many exciting things in store. I can't tell you right now, but a lot of things. It's really going to start taking off now. We closed on the old homestead today. And stay to the end of this video, and I'll put our little parting shot of that. Let's just get the tools out and let's start clearing the obvious stuff, and maybe even get a fire going here. Nothing like making friends in the new neighborhood and starting a chainsaw at 9:30 in the morning. I've been wanting to do this for 4 hours. I've been actually up since about 5 waiting. 10 o'clock seems reasonable. I think we can shed the Pendleton here. It'll be heating up here before you know it. I was going to start with the weed trim or the weed whacker, but that's Mrs. W's favorite thing to do, so I'll save that for her and do the heavy lifting myself. I finally found a solution to my gas spilling. All right, friends, this is where it starts. We'll start by cleaning out. Looks like we got about a half a dozen, about 16, 18 foot Doug firs there that are going to have to come down. And then we'll open it up and then see what we got. You know, on second thought, I think I am going to get that weed trimmer out. This grass is so tall, not the ideal tool for it. Yeah, let's fire that up, clear this out, then we can start stacking up our limbs. Got a new pole saw. We'll try that out here together. I was really excited. I'm falling in love with Silky again because they made a pole saw that fits inside my firebox. The old one I had was 12 feet long. Man, that was an ungainly thing. You could barely pack it around in a full-size pickup, let alone a firebox. I'm not really checked out on this thing. I don't know if I've ever used it. Mrs. W is always on this one. Choke. I do know that. What the cat here did I get into here? Oh, it fell off. That was some black wire or something. There it is, piece of fence. When you're clearing your land, your forest in particular, the scope of work can overcome you. You can look at it and think, my goodness, there's so much to do, there's no point. We're gonna have to get used to all this noise. I'm not used to having any noise. Sounds like someone's running a big vacuum back there. They're building the building back there. So here's what I've done, just for my own sanity, is you mark out, this is where you start, you mark out a 20 by 20. Stake it out if you have to. If you can visualize it, that's just as well, right? And that's where you start. And you clear that 20 by 20. And then you do another 20 by 20, and you start stacking those together, and before you know it, you've got 100 by 100, right? It's the death by 1,000 cuts. What it gives you is it gives you a little bit of traction. I know when we first started clearing the original homestead, it was so big, there was so much work that I didn't even know where to start, and I didn't. I would just walk around trying to think where to start, and I would just quit in despair. And that's how we started. I think we started with a 10 by 10 because it was just such a woolly and bushy forest. This isn't near as bad. Clean as you go, just like a pro, as Mrs. W says. And we'll cut and limb and grass as we need be, and pretty soon we'll have a foothold. We'll put these Doug fir limbs here, stack them up for future burning. I don't think I'm going to burn today. We've got some friends that were stopping by. Actually, the friends that introduced Mrs. W and I. Been friends with them for 20 years. And when we get, so I don't want to leave this fire unattended. Maybe we'll come in tomorrow and get some fire going. So one trick that I learned the hard way, when you're doing lemon, when you have these little ones, now on this project, nothing's going to be wasted except for the branches. The little branches, there's not much we can do about them. I don't have a chipper anymore, so we'll burn those. But all of the trunks and the main sections of them will either be used for fences here or for firewood. So we'll try to use everything we can. So when you're limbing those little ones, if you limb them where they stand, the branches fall over and you get fir boughs scattered all over the forest. If you can drag them, if you can cut them down, drag them to one central location and limb them, then all your branches are in one pile and you can just kind of gather them up right there and burn them right in place, or pick them up with something like the frostbite or a brush grapple. The larger pieces will stack up for firewood. Take the ends that are too small and put them as a couple rails there. And if you're going to let your firewood season in the field, you don't want it having ground contact to suck up moisture. So you can stack it on these guys and it'll keep it nice and clean or dry. Keep your usually your firewood, depending on your stove, but as a rule of thumb, 16 inches for most stoves, 24 inches if you have an old school big stove. You can get away with that for sure. But 16 seems to be about ideal. Boy, we've got some harsh light today. All right, so in our 20 by 20, we find one mature ponderosa there. I don't put a power saw to those. The chance of damaging the bark is too great. And with Japanese saws, they're so good. It's actually less work and easier just to cut them by hand. So I'll cut everything I can reach up to about 8-10 feet or so with the 8 feet with the Ichiban, and then we'll try out the new folding Silky. I like to limb up 16 feet. I think we should be able to do that, maybe a little bit more with this. So let's limb this up, and then we'll gather everything up, and then we'll head back in. I don't stack the Doug fir branches with the pondos. The ponderosas they're all they really are full, and they don't stack near as nice as those fir boughs. So I keep them separate. The Silky pole saw is beautifully made. I didn't realize when I bought it that it even was telescopic. I think I saw a picture of it, and it was in its long. I didn't look too close to it, and it's 4 feet or so, maybe a little over 4 feet. Really well put together. So it looks like it's a big boy, but it's got the limbing hook on it, so you can so you don't overcut and then lose your kerf, right? They're a little bit different, but very similar to the big boy in that it's locking like a lockback. Bit of a learning curve here, apparently. Okay. So once you get that guy down, you lock it in. It's got some really clever latches with detents. Let's see, why am I having so much trouble with this here? There it is. There's ball detents in there. Very rigid. That oval design is nice. It gives it lots of strength. That's really nice. I haven't cut with it yet. Let's give it a go. I'll just run out one section, and then we'll pull out the second one if we need. Oh my goodness, that is sharp. I was about to brag on my Ichiban being sharp after many years of use, but oh my goodness, this is like a laser beam. After this, I see that it's probably in need of a new blade. Wow. Wow, it's just effortless. That's really a nice saw. I can't say I've used a saw as good as this one. So I don't think I'm going to go up to 16 feet on this. This is probably about 20 inches in diameter at the bowl, and maybe 60 feet in height. You know, we're in an alpine environment or subalpine environment, so trees have more taper here than they do in the valley. So I want to keep that full canopy feel. So I might just kind of get what I can get with just the one section. We can always come back, right? You can always take away, but you can't add. Sometimes I just like to sit back and look at it. Get my Mr. Miyagi on and reassess it from different angles and different light, and then determine. Pondo branches hang down and scratch everything up. There's no better way to finish up than with a rogue forest rake. It's got big wide tines and it's strong, and you just come through here and just drag it. All the little things you can't pick up, little branches and such, and it does a nice job finishing up. It goes pretty fast. The large tines of the forest rake, they clean really well. You try to do this with grass and stuff in a normal rake, it just turns into a giant ball, a mess, where the forest rake is just perfect because you can pull stuff up and just pick it up and it just falls out. Well, friends, that's about all we have time for today. I'm going to head back over. You know, a lot of these mundane jobs that we find ourselves doing, you know, it's easy to start to dread them, right? And the whole time you're doing it, you just don't really have any pleasure and joy in doing it. And it's just this awful drudgery. It's not just this, it could be just a million things. Remodeling comes to mind, right? But the thing that really helps me is no matter what I find myself doing, I try to do it to the best of my ability and take pride in my work. And that goes to the point of when I cut my firewood, try to get as close to 16 inches as possible, stack everything neatly, stack everything properly, and in a way, if someone were to see it and look at it, they would know that that was done by someone who cares, even if it's just something as menial as sweeping up a floor. You know, the good book tells us, do all things to the glory of God. Whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. And when you find yourself doing that and having a different attitude, your work is actually a joy and a pleasure, no matter what it is. That's why those who fear God can find pleasure in anything that they find themselves doing. They always have peace and a joy because they're doing their best and they're honoring God and they're honoring themselves in whatever they find to do. There's just no place for shoddy work. Even if you think you're doing something that's beneath you, it's not. Do all things to the glory of God. All right. Thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers. It's a lot. It's going to take me a while to get used to all this traffic, and we'll see you guys on the next video.